Old man Woody likes the crooked cock.
Cool.
Do you follow UFC much, Josh, or what's your main sport if you're a sports guy at all?
The only thing that I ever paid any attention to was skateboarding. I went through a brief period of time when I was in prison where I was watching the UFC fights, but pretty early on I realized that a bunch of dudes watching men fight gets them fired up to want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get real aggressive and really egotistical, and it gets real bad. So I stayed away from that while I was locked up and then haven't kept up with it since.
Smart.
That seems fair. Yeah,
I was a skateboarder in my youth.
It seems like anything would be better to play in the common room than professional fighting.
Yeah, it gets them very fired up and egotistical, and then they all are looking for any slight at all to tell somebody to catch the cell, and it's just a whole bunch of ego nonsense in prison where I was mostly exposed to it. Go to the cell to fight.
Meet me in the cell so we can fight privately.
Or they say put your shoes on or whatever, yeah.
Dude, that's the last thing I want. I want to fight in front of the guard station.
That's what they call a check-in move. That's why they tell you to catch the cell.
Can you buy like baby oil at the commissary?
You used to be able to, but you can make amazing tattoo ink out of it.
Can I slick myself up naked?
You have to use some Vaseline, not baby oil. They took the baby oil off because people were making really good tattoo ink with it. Vaseline makes equally good tattoo ink, in my opinion.
You can make tattoo ink out of baby oil?
Yeah, you burn it. Same as you do with Vaseline. You basically make a wick with toilet paper. Allow it to, I was twisting this toilet paper up earlier. If you twist it into like a small wick, completely saturate it with Vaseline or baby oil and set it upright in a container with some kind of metal thing, like anything at all to hold it up, it will burn and consume the oil into a very black soot. And you put it underneath something like your locker or your cell, your bunk, and let it build up on the bottom, scrape the soot off, and you've got ink, basically.
Do you use prison tricks in inappropriate situations now that you're free? Like your McDonald's coffee's too cold and you're like, I got this. And you fucking set the napkin on fire.
I haven't had to whip out any prison skills. I do have them. Like if we ever need a lighter for some reason and the lighter dies, I'm good. I know 40 ways to light a fire without needing a lighter at all. I can't believe that was once an issue in my life.
You're like Bear Grylls.
The lighter's dead. What are we going to do to smoke this weed? Like back in the day, we're like, oh no, we got to go to the gas station. Now I'm like, do you have a pencil and a paper clip or a microwave, an envelope, a staple? Like so many things that I can use, a battery and a piece of steel wool or any kind of thin tin foil. We can light cigarettes, joints, whatever we need to light. Trust me. I do still eyeball stamps every time that I see mail. My eye checks to see whether the stamp has been pressed or not. I'm not going to pick it off if it hasn't been pressed. I don't have the urge to do so.
I was camping this summer, and we picked up this guy, rode with his dog on the gas tank. And we didn't know him or anything, but he was by himself, so we let him sort of join our group for a bit. And I recognized his tattoos as likely to be prison tattoos. Like there's an artistic style and stuff. And we have dinner, and he starts expertly putting together some like ramen noodles and Chef Boyardee and turning it into something else.
Oh yeah. And
I'm like, dude, is that a prison recipe? And he goes, no. And I say, let me rephrase. Be honest, is that a prison recipe? And he goes, yeah.
Yeah, it is. You see somebody make something incredible out of ramen, you already know the business.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my head wrapped around the ramen noodle thing. It didn't make sense when that chili existed. It was just so much. It was so good. I hated the ramen. I ate ramen like 3 times.
I always loved the ramen. I fucked with the ramen tub. I dumped mackerel in it, whatever. It was so versatile.
Which flavor of ramen were you a big fan of?
I mostly like spicy chicken, the picante chicken.
Yeah.
I can no longer eat creamy chicken or the chili flavored kind. Those two, I got very, very tired of those. Creamy chicken, you can taste it for 6 hours, and the chili one just is burned into my brain because it's all they sold in my jail for like 4 months at one point. And I just cannot stomach the taste of it anymore.
The guys would add mayonnaise to it. And
I saw that shit. Squirt a whole 2-3 packs of mayonnaise in that bitch. I don't know what's up with that.
We had the whole squeeze thing. We had shelf-stable mayonnaise that comes in a fucking squeeze thing.
And they just load it.
They'd load it up, and I was like, oh, no.
Guys. Gross, man.
You can just, boil it and then add that fucking flavor packet, and it's pretty fucking good.
It's already pretty bad for you. You don't have to add a bunch of lard to it.
It was awful. I ate a little bit, but mostly I ate those chilies, and I didn't eat much when I was there anyway.
Like the chili pouches off the store?
Yeah, those were so fucking good.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah, I did the jalapeno slices in that huge-ass jar, and I didn't know that when you bought jalapeno slices, they were going to give me like a half gallon of them. So I bought 3 jars the first day I got there or something.
It's like
because I thought I was going to
stupid ass screw top. Jalapenos.
Nobody tells you how many are going to be in anything. So when you buy cheese, you're like, how much you don't know what you're getting.
Is it one slice? Is it a block? You don't know.
I wish I had a commissary list still.
I've got one somewhere actually.
It's pretty good shit. I
I'll
mean,
dig it up. It's about.
I usually
that
tell
long.
people it's like everything you can get inside of a good gas station that isn't like the burgers and taquitos and nonsense.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
everything that's on the shelves, like
Chili
dry
pouches and Vienna sausages, mackerel, ramen, stuff like that. Toothbrushes and toothpaste.
chips and sodas and stuff. Just everything that's bad for you. Yeah.
What was the item that, like, if you're a new guy and you went to load up on it, that you were most likely to be harassed for having? Like, if some guy bought like 8 packs of chips, is he signing himself up to get harassed? Or is it Max? Or is it?
I feel like not necessarily.
Cheese,
The
butter?
sodas are a hot commodity because at the mediums they're
Sodas.
limited. You can only get a 12-pack, and so people will be like, "What you gonna do with those sodas, man? Are you gonna drink them? Can I sell those? Let me buy those from you." Because a lot
you
of
gonna
dudes
drink
sell them.
Nah.
Well, dudes sell them for profit. You know, I don't know if they did that at the camp, but they'll fill up their trash can with ice and have cold sodas, and you can buy one for 2 stamps, and so they'll turn a little profit on it. You know, and you get it already freezing cold.
I would
So
take
they'll
my
be trying to buy them.
I would take that giant ass mug and fill it up in the ice machine because I don't know about you, we have access to one of those really nice ice machine that makes
Yeah, big ass ice machine we have.
and I'd fill that thing up and like I put my Diet Pepsi like down in it and make a little cooler to like a refrigerator.
Yeah,
to
with
cool
your
the
mug,
thing
the
off.
big clear gallon mug, the big with the handle. Yeah,
huge. That thing was full of ice water
yeah,
all
it
day.
was
Every day.
super huge. It worked as a cooler for one beverage at a time.
Yep.
Maybe
I've
two
always
even.
wondered this about it. Like, if you go into a prison like you were in, and let's say I'm a guy worth $200 million on the outside. If I go in there and I'm like, I'll take everything from the commissary, I'll take whatever this, am I a target, or am I able to be like, hey, anybody who comes near me, beat the shit out of them, and I'll give you way more money than anybody here can even compete with?
I personally don't think it would come to that.
You don't think so?
For what it's worth, there's a spending limit. There's a cap at $360 per month that you can spend. Certain things don't come off of that limit, like stamps and certain toiletries and hygiene products, but some dudes do that.
That's
Some
money.
dudes go at the start of the month and they drop their whole spending limit for the month and then fill up their locker and just eat off it for the month. So no, I don't think you'd be particularly targeted. You have a lot of bags of store coming back. You'd have to have somebody to help you, but nobody's going to just be trying to beg and bum off of you like that. If you're just doing your time and staying out of the way, they're going to stay out of your way, you know?
But if you wanted to become the pod boss, could you do that via the amount of fucking stamps that you acquired? Like, you're just paying some guy named
I don't
like
see why not.
You're talking about
Tito.
like in Civilization, instead of a domination victory, you're trying to get like a.
I'm trying to win economically in my prison
Right.
stint. Yeah.
Probably. You could probably pay some people off.
It probably doesn't take 200 million to dominate financially the prison population. Probably 1 million will do
Oh,
it.
I'm sure I was just making up a
Probably
ridiculously high
100
number.
grand.
I was at Butner, North Carolina
These are
when Bernie
people who
Madoff
use
was
mackerel as currency, boys.
Wait, Josh,
25 grand.
Josh, you were where when Bernie made
I
off?
was at Butner, North Carolina when Bernie Madoff was there. I had breakfast with him twice. So he was a billionaire. And, you know, they had this is before drones. People weren't dropping contraband with drones yet. Now they're putting nets over lots of federal prisons. But we used to just have helicopter wires, just basically look like telephone wires, but they're rubber strings to stop helicopters from coming down to get inmates for some abortive rescue mission. And we always called them the Bernie Madoff wires there because he was the only one that would probably have the financial fortitude to get somebody to come in there and save his ass, you know.
Was he ever messed with, or was he just too high?
To the best of my knowledge, he wasn't messed with. Now, people would joke and say things like, yo, if that dude over there comes and asks you for a honey bun and he'll give you a honey bun back next week, don't fuck with him. You know, like they joke like that, saying, oh, man, that man's got every honey bun on the compound. Because, you know, he ran a Ponzi scheme is what he went to prison for. So, hey, listen, you give me a honey bun now, I'll give you 1/10 of a honey bun every weekend for the next 20 weeks. And the next thing you know, Bernie Madoff has all the motherfucking honey buns and nobody has gotten their honey bun back.
That would be the funniest shit on earth if he successfully pulled off a honey bun Ponzi scheme in
federal
prison.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he died recently. So I guess rest in peace to Bernie Madoff. But he was there at the same time as me. He watched me play bass in a Christmas show at Butner while we were there.
That's hilarious, man.
I learned some what the hell? We played Susie Q by CCR, and we played some funky version of Jingle Bells or something. Had a good old time. Bernie Madoff was there, and he didn't look like he was getting harassed or hassled. My mom did send me his wiki page. April 2021 is what Zach just said. So rest in peace, Bernie, I suppose. I don't know anything about him or how many people he screwed over. Oh, yeah, I figured he would die at Butner. He wasn't harassed or screwed with, to the best of my knowledge. People joked on him a lot and pretty much just said, don't let him borrow anything from you. But he was good, man. He stayed out of the way. I feel like I was about to say something.
I was going to say, as far as like spending too much and like making yourself like a target or anything, the thing was that like everybody was coming back to their cell with like a Christmas sack of stuff on like commissary day. So it's like you're not if you literally have 30 pounds of commissary that you're bringing back in a sack that you have to drag. No one is going to blink an eye because
they're not going to blink an eye.
There's someone coming right behind you.
It's common.
Same shit.
Okay.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that probably a quarter of the inmates or so either don't make commissary often or not at all, or they're,
there were guys
or whatever. But it's definitely common enough to where you're not going to get people looking at you because you bought a lot of commissary. There's plenty of dudes in there that are perfectly upset financially and got no problem maxing out their limit once a month.
How often can you go to commissary?
Once a week. Unless you're at your spending limit, in which case then you can only buy approved items like stamps and hygiene and stuff. But once a week, you get a rotating day.
Though. Can't I just buy like $100 worth of stamps and then buy your ramen noodles?
You can get one book of stamps per week on the commissary. And also at the prisons that I was at, the stamps between inmates were only worth 33 cents. So there was really no reason to ever buy them off.
So you couldn't max out your commissary and then buy a bunch of stamps and then use those stamps to buy more of the unapproved unlimited items or limited items, I suppose. Yeah, you could do that. Okay.
Yeah, because you'll take
you can remove the middleman and just swap them. Like you can be like, you're not getting your sodas this week. I'll get you $3 worth of mackerel, and okay, cool, you can get my sodas.
What was a lot more common was to either, for us anyway, was to either swap days with somebody, or like be like, get this for me today and I'll get this for you tomorrow, or even like I lost my train of thought.
That helps. But I want to spend more than 360. That's my goal.
And it seems like based on what he said, you can.
Well, the main way, in my opinion, to circumvent it is to go black market, get your people on the street to send some money to his people on the street, and he just gives me the stamps. That's the best way to go about it, in my opinion. I did that all the time, straight up illicit black market trading for stamps. He gets word, hey, my people your people just sent my wife $100. He gives you $100 worth of stamps. Now I can get whatever I want without touching my commissary limit.
Because everyone
here's $5. Give me $5 worth of this, and you get sodas, and you get sodas, and now I've got 200 sodas coming in one day.
And the other thing is like $120 a week or whatever it came to is a shitload of junk food for a week.
Fuck ton of commissary.
Like it's so much. You're not going to run out unless you really pour planly on like one item. Like I think one time I ran out of like salsa. It's like, oh, I didn't get 10 cups of salsa this week. I only got 8, and I had to borrow a cup of salsa. But like normally, like
$100 a commissary a week is a fuck ton to blow through.
It literally is. We have this laundry bag that's like this
mesh laundry bag, big white
mesh, and you'd be walking back with that fucker just full of shit.
Crunching.
It's great. Great. Yeah,
breaking your potato chips.
Yeah, they have a whole like in the place where we go to get commissary, like it's like a giant candy store back there. Like there's so much shit, and they had a.
I ended on that note. I love the wordplay.
That was the best shit I've ever heard.